Yo, when I spit bars in a rain, man, I go hard like Santan.
Oh, we back again. I got two special guests here with me today on Touchline Hotspur. It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. Owen, how you feeling, man? Loving the shirt. You got the retro on. For the people that can't see, people that are listening just to the audio, it's the proper retro.
I don't even know what year it is either, but it's just like 94, 95 looking.
Yes, I think it's the 94, 95. Holston.
If it is, I've just guessed that as well. So, yeah, fair play. But I'm good, man. How are you?
No, I'm good. I'm keeping well, man. Just all you can do, and in these kind of seasons, 3 games left. Just take it a day as it goes. I'm feeling like Ryan Mason right now, giving an interview. You know, how you feeling, man?
I've been here before with Spurs. I've had enough.
They're breaking point.
They're taking the mic. Overall, I've had a great week. Woke up this morning, stock markets were bleeding, but they've recovered, so I'm happy with that. But as for my beloved Spurs,
we're still bleeding.
They're pushing the buttons, all the wrong buttons.
It's crazy as well because I think, like going into the Leeds match, I think you had Dier talking about 4 games left, and it really mattered, and we had to take it seriously, and we had to think about. Was it him saying we had to think about the direction of the club? I can't remember.
It might have been.
But someone, maybe it was Mason, I can't remember. Someone was saying like Spurs really have to think of the direction of the club. Europe is still on, and this is the time to take charge. And then, I mean, wow, like what was you guys thinking going into the game? What did you think the score was going to be, or what did you think of our chances?
Boy, I mean, I think me and you both said on the previous pod that we were definitely not going to win. I kept on saying in the build-up as well, I didn't necessarily care about results as long as we were kind of trying to landscape for the future. And then I look at the table and I'm like, right, like if we win this, we're actually 2 points within 4th somehow. And then it was then, and when I saw the lineups, then I knew we were definitely going to crumble.
What was it? What was the name that made you, that was the full stop that just made you know?
It was more like knowing how Leeds play and how well drilled they are to a man, and I knew Mason would go unchanged from Sheffield, and that meaning we would probably end up getting overrun because I felt like we got too many luxury players in the team. I didn't think Bale would have done particularly well, kind of tracking back. Didn't think Son would be the same, vice versa. Dele isn't exactly match fit. And Kane isn't the most intense presser. Like, I didn't think we would defend well from the front and we would end up just getting overrun. I
think it's weird. So, like, going into the match for me, I think, you know, Leeds have that kind of reputation. Like, they're really good, but sometimes they can be naive. I think it's like they play well, but they don't always get the results, which is something that I thought like this is what we brought Mourinho in to solve, and obviously it didn't work out. Like, we wanted to stop being as naive. So when we faced them the last time, I thought they played really well, and then but we went out like, was it 3-0 winners, something like that?
Yeah.
And then, going into this match, I mean, I wasn't hoping, but I thought we would see a bit more of the same. I thought the guys would be a bit more defensive. I didn't think they would be as naive, I thought, against this Leeds team. Like, they know how to beat them, and I don't think they showed their best side at all. I think they made it quite easy for Leeds by just trying to beat Leeds at what they're good at, which I don't know why we did that. I think it might be a bit of an indictment on Ryan Mason's management, but I mean, he got 4 games left? Doesn't really matter. Yeah, what's your take on what was your take going into the game?
Well, going into the game, I think my scoreline was 3-1 Spurs, so I got it completely wrong, the wrong way around. But in fairness, at 1-1, we should have had the goal, obviously, with Kane, but that's neither here or there, to be honest with you, because you shouldn't really let your head drop. But what I found from what I watched in the game, which is what I've seen predominantly through the whole season, is Spurs' tendency to crumble whenever they concede or whenever they're like there's a sustained amount of pressure on them. And our defense, when we lose bad. Like, there's not been a game this season so far where we've like, all right, maybe people might argue the final and say, all right, we lost like 1-0 or 2-1 and stuff like that. But when we tend to lose, we lose like 3-0, 3-1. Like, and it's bad. Like the whole 90 is a bad watch. Like, so I only watched half the game. Once I saw that the Kane goal was disallowed, I was like, yeah, I'm done. This is it. Their heads are going to go, and we're definitely going to lose. I know people are going to say, but the Southampton game, we had a goal disallowed, and they bounced back. Southampton tired out. That's how we won. Yeah, we faced a team that just crumbled in the last 20 minutes because they didn't have the energy. We faced Sheffield United, who were already relegated, beat them 4-0. Like, it's like I should have known that we were going to lose, but my perception was we were going to go up against Leeds. We know what Leeds are going to do, for one, which means we're going to have opportunities to score. And if we take the lead, we might get lucky and, just hold out for a victory. That was my whole perception on the whole 3-1 scoreline in favour of Spurs. I got it completely wrong. I put my hands up. I should have known better, because our team is on nonsense. And I can't even blame Ryan. Imagine, I can't even blame Ryan Asen for this, because to be honest with you, I know he's selecting a lot of his friends. Picking Stinks and them man to play, but
Stinks didn't actually play.
I'm saying in general, just picking them to play in any game. Like, he should be relegated to like the seaside. Yeah, like he shouldn't be nowhere near the team whatsoever. So I'm just saying in general, I know he's like picking a lot of like mainstay Spurs players from past due and all that kind of stuff, like especially bringing Ali into the fold. I'm just like, I'm not having none of it. I've had enough. Like, but again, I'm not going to blame him because these players are professionals. You should know how a team or an opponent is going to play, and you should be able to, see out a game if you're considered to be one of the big teams. And we timelessly keep messing them up.
So let's do like let's go for the team real quick. Yeah, like the defense. I mean, it's fair to say most of the people had a bad game. This is like the third, fourth game in a row, maybe, where Lloris has been the best in the back five. Probably the worst. I mean, a lot of people would say it was Dier, and I've heard a lot of people say it was Reguilon. So my question to you guys is who was the worst on the pitch in the back four?
It's going to be Dier.
By far, Dier, unfortunately. It was by far. It was quite annoying because I didn't hate our first half performance. Like, yeah, we got overran, but excuse me, when we did actually go forward, I thought Dele came in and linked up with Kane and Son really, really well. He was bright. And we constantly looked like a threat. It was just the other end. Reguilon doesn't look confident or fit. I'm not even sure why he's still playing. I guess because Ben Davies is still injured, but yeah, I feel like he's just trying too hard to try and make it to the Spain squad for the Euros, and he's pushing his body. Well, he doesn't, he shouldn't necessarily be doing so. The midfield. Lo Celso, he had such a weird game because there were times where he was like tenaciously quite well, winning a few second balls. He would carry the ball quite well in a few spells, but when it came to actually being decisive and releasing it and knowing when to release it, or just generally just trying to get into a rhythm, like his decision making was awful at times. So it's annoying because quite a lot of us have put stocks in this guy, and ever since this last injury, he's just not performed. Whereas before, when he came back from his other injury earlier on in the season, he had good games against Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and he looked like he was getting back to like the level we saw last season at the back end. At the back end of last season, and now he's looking terrible. I'd say Bale was a passenger, an absolute passenger, and he threw Aurier under the bus several times. Several times. He should have been hooked a lot earlier. But again, like up until the substitutes where I felt like we were still actually in the game.
So
like I didn't think we were playing terrible, and then he double substitution. He brought Lucas and Lamela on at the same time. These are two players who have been, essentially most of us think that they're pretty much done at the club now. Bale justifiably came off. Didn't hate that sub, but then like Dele came off. I think it was for Lamela. So yeah, it was someone who was still playing well. I felt like Lo Celso could have probably come off at that time for Ndombele. That would have made a lot more sense, especially with how Leeds play. Yeah, it was weird. And then we just completely lost control of the game after the substitutions.
Yeah. I think the way people describe Mora and Lamela sometimes is like headless chickens and things like that, the way they're running or the way they don't release at times that help the rest of the team. I really think that didn't help from what I've seen of highlights. I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't watch the whole match either, but from what I've seen, that didn't help. We looked better before they came on for me, and I think you said it like perfectly. I don't know why Ndombele did not enter the pitch earlier. Which kind of takes me to this thing that's been going around this week as well of Ndombele's Instagram, the picture with Kane. Like I don't think it's him saying he's leaving, but I mean it is interesting. Like comments are disabled on it, and he's obviously posted it for a reason. So what, like, do you guys think Ndombele is sending a message? Do you think there's a situation here? Like, what is there? Is it just an overreaction, kind of coincidence thing? Yeah, what do you think?
I don't think there's really much to read into it from people that I've spoken to near the club, and some of the things that have come out. It just seems like he seems to be happy at Spurs. So I guess we can take from it that, it's like, time will tell. He will either get his chance over the next 3 games, or he's just waiting for, I guess, the season to end, and we kick on from next season. There's not really much to make of it. If he wanted out, I think we'd be hearing more murmurs now, but I don't think there's really much to make of it other than, I guess he will get his time soon. That's all I can really take from it.
Owen, you agree? Or do you think there's
I didn't know comments were disabled on that post until just then, but I read it as like soon come, like I'll be playing soon. Time will tell. For those that don't know, that he essentially posted a picture with Kane. There's like 3 pictures of the sand timer. So say time's coming. I wouldn't want to overanalyze it. I don't know if it's because the other thing it could be is something I just don't want to believe. But to me, it's just a case of him essentially saying, okay, I'm going to be on the pitch, soon come. And then hopefully he can get picked for France at the Euros, man.
Yeah. I think he deserves it, man. He's had a good season, all things considered. Like, it's been a mess. It's been a mess at the club. He's one of the better names there. It's weird to me how many people don't rate Ndombele. Like, it just seems so strange to me, like in just a general Spurs fan base. But I mean, that's life. You've got dinosaurs at every club. Do you guys think Europe is still achievable? Like, we keep hearing it out of the players' mouths after every game. Before the match, what was it? We were 3 points off or something like that. Now we're 7th, but I mean, Chelsea dropped points as well. I think the most points we could get is like 64, 65, which would be like, we need everybody to keep losing. So is it or drawing, should we say?
Europe is achievable, but not Champions League. Well, like these players need to get that out of their head. I'm not here to be like falsely spoken to, yeah, because they're not going to the Champions League. And if by some sort of miracle they were to achieve Champions League football, they're gonna hold a spanking. So they need to get that out of their head. If we were really in this race for a Champions League spot, they would have beaten Leeds. That's the long and short of it. So they can't beat Leeds, who currently sit at 10th, 9th in the league. And that's not to say that Leeds are crap. They just can't beat the team that sits 10th or 9th in the league. And we still got to face Leicester, who are currently 3rd. If you can't beat 9th, who do you think we are to expect you to beat 3rd? So now, I reckon we finish. I won't be surprised if we finish 6th or 7th and go straight into the Europa. There's been murmurs saying that, we could finish below Arsenal. I'll be honest with you. If that happens this season, some players need to play. They need to pay the fans. They need to pay the fans half their wages. Seriously, like there's no. You need to understand that Arsenal were in the bottom half of the league for a quarter of the season. They've been bouncing around 8th and 10th for a third of this, 3/4 of the season. We were top in December and have dropped so far down that we're talking about the team that's been bouncing around 8th and 10th, potentially going above us. And these players know no shame.
It's disgusting, bro. And like I don't know, it's the players, it's the club, it's the board, it's everything, man. There's the situation, the whole situation stinks because not too long ago, I mean, it felt like Spurs was the club that was on the up. Out of all of the English clubs, it felt like Spurs were doing the most to change their position. I guess from maybe a mid-table club, they were working towards becoming a club that regularly heads into the Champions League, and you were thinking that momentum would continue and they would become a club that starts challenging for titles. So probably where we fall short is definitely like challenging for titles. And now it sounds like we're regressing, that we're going to start falling short of challenging for Champions League as well. And to regress even another level after that and start finishing behind these lot down the road again, I think it's disgusting. It's disgraceful. I'll do the Drogba shout, bro. Disgraceful in the camera and that. What? It's disgusting. All I know is, I think, I've got a situation for you guys, and you know what I'm going to say already. But even if it meant finishing below Arsenal, would you take not finishing in the Europa League so that we could have a season without Europe, without having playing 2 games a week?
We can't. I'm sorry, I have to nip this in the bud, because I know I've heard a lot of fans, so I'm not surprised this question came up. But we can't afford that. We actually.
From what angle though? What are you saying? Why can't we afford
from a financial
standpoint? From a money perspective? Okay.
And what makes it worse is that we haven't got a team that, let's say we had the season out, it would benefit them. These guys are on the decline. Like there's no like upward trajectory with the majority of the squad. So for us to be out of Europe, and still struggle to offload these players from a financial standpoint, the impact it would have on the team would be detrimental. And then on top of like the players we're trying to get out, we would have no window for them because we can't put them in like lesser games where they might shine and do a bit, so that we can up their value. We will have nothing for it. We'd have to be selling players at the end of their contract. We'll be finished. We don't have the capacity to miss Europe for any season in the next 10 years. We better make Europe, even if it's the Conference League. We need to make Europe because we don't have no room for any sort of like, we're going to take a season out. It's not going to work at all.
See, I think we're working our way slowly to this niche of becoming the club where, cool, if you don't sell players, the players are entering last year of contract and they're all going to leave on a free. We've seen what that can do to teams. Like if you don't recoup money from the players that you buy, it's a bad cycle. It doesn't end well. So how do you nip that in the bud? Like I know we're looking to sell players for value, but I mean, isn't that the wrong way to go about this? Don't we just need to get players out
We
Owen,
do. It's one of those now where the hardest thing is not only are our players they're not necessarily desirable to most clubs. Like any club that is essentially a good thinker isn't going to want Musa Sissoko or maybe even Eric Lamela, unless like I'm going to probably end up saying a prayer at the end of every pod just for Mourinho to hoover up some of this at Roma. But yeah, man, the hardest thing is essentially there's just not really a market for these players either. Like every team's broke. We should have done it last summer for the best part, especially Danny Rose. I mean, if we can't even shift a player who's wanted to leave for nearly 2 years, like what are we doing? Like I've even said before, like I was quite impressed with how Arsenal offloaded certain players in January. It was like a fair few players. Yeah, like Kolasinac, Mustafi, Socrates, Ozil, all on high wages. I think every single one of them left for free. I think I can't remember them even, like, any of them getting a transfer fee. So to get that Deadwood out of the club like that, like I wouldn't even say no to that. I guess a few players could command a small fee, but again, like I don't know who's paying. Like, for example, I guess Davinson Sanchez would be desirable to certain clubs. He would, in a normal market, be worth like a fair amount of money, maybe 15, 20 million. But I just can't imagine any team in Europe doing that. So it's going to be a really interesting summer to see how it plays out, because I think we're going to find ourselves needing to just offload them for stupidly low transfer fees, and I can't imagine Levy and co really being keen on that idea, but it's what we have to do at this point.
I think the market is changing completely. Like you're even getting, like even when you have talks of players like Boateng and we're interested in him, they're talking about him taking like a massive pay cut to come to Spurs. And even though we're historically, I guess, a team that pay quite low wages, it's still a case of like who wants to pay the amount of money that we paid for some of these players that are not necessarily in the top tier of their position. So like, how do you recoup on 30 mil for Sissoko? How do you recoup on what we paid for Mora, even Aurier? You know what I mean? It's near enough impossible. I think even there were rumors of PSG coming in for Aurier for like a way lowered price. And now you've got like Pochettino putting out statements saying like he's not too sure and things like that. Like it's just, I don't know. It's not looking great. The only thing I would maybe argue with is that I do think there are some ways that we could go about this. And one of the ways you could go about this is selling one of the players that does a lot for us in terms to raise our money. So like that could be whether it's a Kane, whether it's a Son or an Ndombele, selling one of those players that could command maybe a substantial amount, even if it's not a profitable amount, and then giving that with a new manager to see what happens. And I mean, is anybody against that? Like, what does a new Spurs order without Kane and Son look like?
You know what's funny about that is I would have no problems selling, say, Kane or Son if I could trust the board to be ruthless in the transfer market. Yeah, I can't trust them. So, and this is going to sound, I hope it doesn't sound mad in the way that I'm going to try and explain it, but because I can't trust the board to be ruthless in the transfer market, I feel like we're almost stuck with certain players. So they now the power is all with the players. Yeah, Son should have negotiated and signed his contract time ago. Yeah, but for whatever reason it may be, he hasn't. Yeah, now I don't understand why the board can't be like, you know what, Ali, you ain't really been good for 2 years. There's no point of us mucking about and keeping you. Yeah, let's just get rid of you and get in somebody else. Yeah, that's gonna offer us more. I don't understand why the board want to recoup 30, 15, 20 mil, whatever for Sissoko. You were paying 6 million for 5 years for this guy. Just sell the guy for 6 mil. Like what difference is it going to make? Yeah, you're not going to recruit big money for Aurier, Mora, Lamela, Sissoko, Dier. We got Dier for what, 5 mil? Yeah. Even with English tax, you're not getting no more than 12, 15 mil for that guy. Nobody in their right mind is giving us 20 million for Eric Dier. They know that guy is trash. Like, he is bottom of the freaking. If a team like Sheffield United came in for Eric Dier and was like, yeah, we're gonna offer you 25 million, like they did for Ryan Brewster, snap your neck and take that immediately, because you're not getting nothing better than that. Yeah, but if teams like freaking Sheffield United are not even looking at the likes of Eric Dier, you know you've got an absolute travesty on your hands. And that's the problem. Our board want top dollar for absolute dog crap. Why would you want top dollar for crap? Is crap. Either sell it for cheap or get rid of it for free. Roses.
How much was Mourinho offering for Dier back in the day when he was at Man United?
It was
50 million.
50 mil.
50 mil. Oh my gosh.
This guy wasn't even, he wasn't even at that point, yeah. Even though he was kind of like, yeah, first team. It's like, you know, he might get dropped for 1 or 2 games, but he'll come in, play the DM role, all that kind of stuff, yeah. I would have snapped. Even then, I was like, take it now, yeah. Because the few times we played that guy at centre back when we needed to, because we had a few injuries, it was woeful. I was like, and this guy, he kept harboring on about how much he wanted to play centre back. I want to play centre back. I want to play centre back. I want to play centre back. He's had a whole season now, and nearly 2 seasons, and he's been an absolute stinker. It's annoying, and we have to deal with the likes of Steve Hitchen, who was a dead footballer anyway. Yeah, as our director of footballer. Oh, get out of here! Absolute nonsense.
So I think Hitchin is talking about. I think it's actually Hitchin who's saying that we should get Potter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice. What? So we can go for a whole rebuild again. I told you.
Stand up.
I've had enough. I told you. Look, the thing is, Owen made a compelling argument the last podcast for Potter, and if we were higher up in the league and it was a case of, all right, yeah, cool, we can bring in a manager, you know, boom, we've got like a decent young squad and all that kind of stuff, I would have backed Owen 100%. But at this point, I'm not involved. Yeah, I'm not supporting it one bit. Yeah, I've had enough. Yeah, they're gonna bring in Potter to be what, a yes man. Yeah. What's that player you're looking at? Oh, you're looking at this guy. Yeah, what, you want Vestergaard from Southampton? Yeah. I'll take him. And then we're complaining every week. Why is Vestergaard, this 6'7" guy, getting barged off the ball by Sterling? What more do you want me to do? Why should I suffer like this? Get me a serious top-tier manager, a director of football that knows what he's doing, and spend money. Stop making me feel pain.
But why does it feel like there's only one director of football in the world, though, that knows what he's doing?
Because there's only one.
We all know who he is as well. That's the funniest thing.
The funniest thing as well, like, I always hear fans saying, oh, we do need a director of football, but they're not naming names as if, like, they don't know.
There's only one.
Can't be named this about. To be fair, I think there might be 2, because I feel like if Ralph Ragnick, I say his name properly, I would say yes to him coming in. If not, then Luis Campos, please. I that's the impression I get with Steve Hitchen. You know, you were saying like, oh, don't want to bring in certain people to bring in a yes man. Like with Steve Hitchen, I don't necessarily feel like he unearths bad talent. But I just get the feeling he's just constantly overruled, which is the annoying thing. Like, you don't want a director of football or head of technical performance, I think is his actual role. I don't know what the remit of that role is, but it feels like he's getting overruled a lot. He got overruled a lot by Pochettino. So, I mean, if he's getting overruled by Pochettino, then Levy's going to walk all over him, right?
I wouldn't want him there. Look, you can't have the stadium we have. Yeah, you can't have the sponsors we now have. Yeah, you can't have all this apparent money that we're potentially, because we're a valuable club. We're not a rich club. We're a valuable club. Yeah, because we own a lot of land and property and all that kind of stuff. So the value of the club is massive. You can't be in the position we're in right now and have man that have no cojones. Yeah, this is why. This is why. Yeah. We've all gone black and white. Yeah, we're no longer the Spurs, navy and blue. We're black and white. We're the new Spurs order. It's over. Yeah, like we're coming for people's necks. Like, the time is done. I've had enough.
Listen,
So first order of the new Spurs order is to get Luis Campos in, director of football.
He has to be there.
That's it.
I'm backing it 100%. That's the Darth Vader. He's the guy, bro. He's the guy at the top, yeah. And you know what? I'd even go as far as to say, like, Levy, you're walking on a plank right now, mate. Because, like, I'm a guy who's not. I don't really. What would I say? I like a lot of what Levy has achieved over the years, and a lot of the things that people blame Levy for, I don't blame Levy for. But I would say it's been a string of a series of unfortunate events, and Levy is at the top of most of them at the moment. It's not looking good. So yeah, he's on thin ice right now.
I'm Levy out, yeah, and the only reason I'm Levy out is actually different to a lot of people's reasoning. I know people will bring up like transfers and certain things that haven't gone in our way, but my actual reason for being Levy out is because I haven't got time for sentimental values. I don't care for it. Yeah, football is a very simple sport. It's a repetitive sport. You play in every season in either the same you play in the same domestic leagues so long as you don't get relegated, and you play in the same European competition so long as you qualify for them. So it's a very repetitive sport. There is no way, I can have Levy in, considering the fact that he's built the club up to this point. Fine, great. We applaud you for it, But that's not going to keep you in the job. What will keep you in the job is us continuously progressing, continuously winning stuff, at least continuously competing for stuff. Yeah, that's why managers lose their job in the first place. When a team stops competing at the level that it should be competing at, managers are the first one to go. Yeah. So I don't understand why, people would argue that, but Levy's taking us. I don't care.
See, from my perspective, I think there's the gap between, say, like, so like there was a gap between mid-table and joining sort of like the top six, and then the gap between going from somebody who's entered the top six to being a consistent member of the top six. I think we started to close that gap. Yeah, and I'll give Levy credit for that. Like, he made a series of good appointments with Pochettino. He did some good work. Then he started making some really bad decisions. And I think the gap between being that consistent member of like the top 4, top 6, and actually winning a title, or going from second to actually competing, going to this, it's not enough to get to the Champions League final, actually winning, turning up on the day, feeling confident. I think that gap is a much bigger gap. And it's not necessarily that I don't think Levy's ready for it. I just think that maybe he's not. What would I say? Maybe he doesn't prioritize that enough. I think he's too happy to try and keep up the status quo that he's made. So he got us to that level. I think he's happy to try and keep us there, keep us consistent at that level. And I don't think he's willing to take the risk to push us over the edge. The one time he did take the risk, I think, was signing Mourinho. I think that the way he saw it in his head is, this guy wins stuff. Yeah, it's a risk. It's a lot of cost. It's not what I'd normally do. But this guy wins stuff. He's going to come in. He's going to win something. And then I'm going to get that leeway to sort of tread water for the next 3 to 5 years. And
sacked him before the final.
Say that again?
I hear that. And
no, I'm saying that's what he thought. I think that's what he thought.
And
it's gone absolutely wrong. And then even to sack him before the cup final, that's another like unfortunate event. But
it's
no matter how you see it, whether he plays the cup final or whether he doesn't play the cup final, I'm sorry, Levy, there was no way for Levy to win in that situation. Either way, there
was no way for him to win in that situation.
There was no way for Spurs to win either. We weren't winning that cup final with Mourinho.
The thing is, even though, and the thing is, it's easy to say we wouldn't have won the cup final with Mourinho, without Mourinho, and all that kind of stuff. But this is just a long and short of it, whether people like it or not. He made it to the cup final. He didn't manage in the cup final. It's easy to say, we were playing crap, we weren't going to win it. Yeah, because he wasn't there. Yeah, but he didn't get to manage in the cup final. A novice got to manage in the cup final and lost 1-0.
He shouldn't have even. It's a bad decision.
He shouldn't have even been in it. So yeah, it's a lose-lose for Levy, but it doesn't make sense to sack. you were better off just letting the guy play the final, lose the final, as everyone anticipated he was going to do anyway, and then sack him.
I think my take is either way, even if he leaves him or sacks him, either way, he's put himself in that position. Levy's
That's his own fault. This is what I mean by I don't care for Levy. Like, this is what I mean by, like, I don't care for it, because it's like, you brought in Mourinho, yeah, and you done what looked like, for the most part, a good transfer window, a smart transfer window. You brought in X, Y, Z, and all that kind of stuff. But everyone knows it's very simple in football when you can identify what your weakness is. Yeah, United had a weakness in defense during Mourinho's time. They didn't sort it out. They sacked Mourinho. They went and spent 80 million on Maguire, who's trash, but they went and spent 80 million on Maguire. Yeah, and for the most part, they think it shored it up. Okay, cool. Liverpool needed a defender because they couldn't get over that hump. They couldn't get over the hump of we're scoring goals, but we're conceding loads of goals. They went and spent 75 million for Van Dijk. And it transformed everything around. We were in the market for Diaz and Skriniar. Like, it wasn't no rumors. We were there. We were talking money. And we didn't make the move. And this is what I mean by, like, Levy and the board. It's always we're there and we don't jump. Big man, jump off the freaking bridge.
I would say, look, you could go through Spurs' entire defensive line, and I'm talking about starters, non-starters, people who are injured, people who ain't seen the team, people who ain't even allowed in the stadium too tough. I'm looking at you, Danny Rose. But yeah, there's nobody that we could rely on to consistently give us a 7 out of 10. And now I'm saying a 7 out of 10 because I'm thinking like an above average performance.
The bar is
yeah,
so low.
You know what I mean? It's like literally there's nobody. There's nobody. And like whether or not you like Maguire, I think the lowest you get from Maguire is a 6 out of 10. Like the very lowest. Like even if he makes a mistake.
Just kicking off.
Come on.
like the referee blows his whistle. You started the game 6 out of 10. Great performance. It is a joke.
It's a joke, and I think you're I think somewhere between what both of us are saying, I think is right in that. Cool, Levy's making bad decisions, like whether or not Mourinho should have started playing the final or not. Either way, it's a bad decision that got us there to that crossroads in the first place from Levy. So he's on thin ice for me. And then we start talking about Enoch, and like, what role do Enoch play in this?
This is the thing. Like I was gonna say, like on Levy, I do hear what I said. Like I wouldn't necessarily want to just keep in someone as like someone who might even be viewed as a dictator. You could like I've seen sections of the fans call him Levy Mugabe. I was like, oh shit, okay. But I would have been. I guess I'd necessarily be open to change. Like one, if it wasn't currently COVID, like I can't imagine us changing the board or the chairman during a time where they actually are they are very business savvy. I can't imagine a kind of better board that can steer us financially through a kind of pandemic web than them as it stands. Secondly, I wouldn't see the point in changing the chairman unless we got rid of Enoch. Like not many people know that Levy doesn't necessarily own Tottenham. He just kind of works for the English National Investment Company, i.e. Enoch, who's owned by Joe Lewis, who is like the 4th or 5th richest British man in Britain. He lives in the Bahamas, but yeah. So yeah, he would have to leave. Enoch would have to pull out, and we'd have to get a takeover before I would consider Levy leaving, because otherwise there's not really a point in changing the chairman, because it's going to be the same ownership, and thus we're going to still be in that same position where we're not necessarily prioritizing football on the pitch, man. Like,
how much money do we need for a takeover?
Billion.
2 billion? Or
probably billion. Yeah, Jeff Bezos, where you at? Like,
$1 billion?
The thing is, for me, I just always think like, who's
going to blow up this year? Because if the money's coming correct, the new Spurs orders are around, baby.
This is what I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
some of the fans realise, because they're calling for this German model for the fans to own 51%. I'm like,
That's a
do
bad
you
idea.
realise how much money you've got to get together collectively?
That's a bad
I'm not
idea.
going to be judging people's positions, but
Yeah,
I know I definitely don't have any kind of that money to put towards it. Yeah, I can't
Bro.
imagine many other people.
I say we put Dier. You literally put Dier on Dogecoin, fam. Just swap him with Coinbase and see what happens, fam. Cause that's less of a risk. I ain't gonna lie.
Dogecoin, Shiba,
Any of them, man.
get it.
Any of them. But like, I don't know. Even when it comes down to Enik as well, it's interesting as well because Enik are getting a lot of bad press now, rightfully so, for their role in the ESL, which is, it feels like old news now, but it's only like 2
It
weeks
feels like they've
in.
escaped quite a lot of it. Like we've got the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust who have just been aiming it at the board. It's like when the ESL happened, it was like that Michael Jordan meme when they sat back and was like, oh, okay, I took that personally. And it was like, okay, but no, sorry.
Yeah, it's so what when you say the board, like Enik are not on the board essentially. So Enik are the owners, and then you've got different people on the board.
Yeah.
So I think now you're seeing, or what I was more talking about is, you've got the Enik out sort of protest. Give it a quick plug. What, Saturday 15th of May,
Yes, 15th,
outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that's this weekend.
It's gonna be chicken
12 p.m.
and some concert.
Bring your flags. Make your voice heard. Anyone's got a speaker, you get me? Bring some tunes out, make it into a party so I can laugh.
Some proper representation.
Yeah, man, come on, let's make it happen. I want to see some Chaz and Dave banging out there. But
just not yet. Like, I'll be honest. Okay, so recently we've had the Arsenal protest, the Chelsea protest, and the United protest. The United protest was a bit mad. I think United should be docked points, like, because their fans are taking the only way you're going to learn is by harming the club that they love so badly. Like, so
what are they being docked points for though?
So did you see what happened today?
That blocking the bus thing.
Yeah, blocking the bus. I mean, like, we get it. You want the board out, yeah, but you can't be stopping matches from happening. You just can't do that. Like, protest, I'm all for the protest. I'm all for even breaking a few glasses here and there. Yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah, but when you're stopping your actual team from competing in their mandatory scheduled match, yeah, it can't fly, it can't run. You have to be punished for it, like one way or another. Because, fine, United might not get punished, but I'm sure you can go over history. And you can even check the lower leagues here. Other teams have been punished for far less. Teams are getting docked 12 points for missing a check and all that kind of stuff. So why is it that your fans can get onto the pitch, do damage, yeah, stop a match from actually happening, yeah, and nothing happens apart from, oh, we're going to talk to the board and stuff like that. But I'm not digressing because I'm getting onto like Spurs. The thing that annoyed me the most about the first protest with Spurs is there was no, it almost showed how unorganized our club looks right now. Yeah, because our protest was a joke. Yeah, you had like 5 men out there. They had the paper things saying, Enoch can't leave, yeah, and all that kind of. There was no vim behind it. If this Saturday is a serious protest and the fans really like let it be known that they've had enough, then maybe, just maybe, the board, Levy and Enoch might listen, and there might be changes this summer. But I honestly don't trust it, and I've been saying it in the group that I don't think this protest is going to be anything serious. I won't be surprised if like 6 men turn up, and there's a guitar playing. Like, but if it's serious and it's like 60 to 100 people are there, and there's some real noise being made, then yeah, fine, talk, because the board we've had enough. I've said it again, we've had enough. If you're going to bring in Potter, but give him 250 million. Like, he has to have bread to spend.
But where is it coming from? Let's not lie. Enik are
Aaron Gate cancel. Somebody has to pay. Big man. Somebody has to pay, bro. I don't care where the bread comes from. Like I've had enough. Okay, so put it like this, yeah. I'm painting a scenario because I'm gonna go with Owen and Potter here. So we bring in Potter, and we say to Potter, all right, cool.
It's Campos on the.
No, Campos ain't coming. We're like I've had to dead that dream. He's not coming. So we bring in Potter, and Potter's like, I want Lamptey, I want Max Aarons, I want Anderson. I want to get rid of X, Y, and Z. Yeah, make it happen. And the board are like, nah, Aaron's is going to cost us 30 million. We ain't got that. Lamptey's going to cost us like 35 million. We ain't got that. What we can do is we'll get rid of Aurea. We'll keep Dier for you. You know, we'll keep Ali. We'll keep Winks. We'll get rid of Sissoko. So that's a plus. And, you know, we'll tell you that you can use Rodon next season. Big man, it's not going to run. Yeah, that's why. So if Potter comes in, I want big bread spent. I want every issue. And the main issue with Spurs right now is the defense. Yeah. If you can shore up the defense, we can survive one more season. And then you can start to sort out, you know, the little bits of the midfield and the attacking. But the defense, this summer, everything has to be focused on the defense. Mm-hmm. Nothing else.
Yeah, it's weird because as well we've got I feel like we spend our money so badly and like we don't use our resources very well. So I mean, you could go to like right back Matt Doherty. Like I'd be surprised if he's made like 20 appearances for us this season, and a lot of them were kind of forced. Like we were playing him because we wanted him to I guess find that match fitness or find that level with Spurs. Just find that, just find that that rhythm, I guess. And he wasn't finding it. Even down to people like Lo Celso. How many games has Lo Celso played for us this season? Like,
been injured a lot.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. He was injured a lot before we finished paying for the loan, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah,
or am I going a bit crazy?
He was injured when we actually confirmed that he was.
Yeah, when we confirmed that we were buying, he was injured then, right? So I mean, it's not looking good. Vinicius, how often has Vinicius played for us this season? I'm not saying anything bad about him, but I wouldn't be surprised if we buy Vinicius next season. What gap is he really filling?
I don't even worked out for him. I think it's just been unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like it's unfortunate for everyone. Berwin, how many games has Berwin played for us this season? If it's more than 10, I'd be surprised.
The team's cool.
Maybe not all. Yeah, this team's fried, man. Like we play the same team every week. It's just.
And how many players did you say needed to leave, or you thought was it 10?
It was 10, 11, 12, and that's at least.
And the majority of what Owen said were fringe players that have somehow crept into our first team. How?
The only thing I would say is that there is some potential for people to come back into the league, to the team. Sorry,
Skip.
Some of the players that we have on, Skip, Sessignon. I personally think like, are you missing much if you have say like a Trey Parrott instead of Carlos Vinicius? Are we really missing much?
I've never rated Parrott. So
if we end up,
you rate Vinicius though, honestly.
I didn't know who Vinicius was. So like,
you know what I mean? Like,
even Parrott coming back here, like the season that Parrott was like being harped on about, everyone was like, we need to play Parrott. Kane's injured, just play him. I was like, guys, he couldn't even perform against Colchester. He's trash, bro. I ain't got time for it. And this is what I mean by the problem with Spurs. There's too much. I don't know if it's like favoritism. I don't know if these guys are playing with these guys on FIFA and it's worked out for them on the gaming platform, so they think it's going to work in real life. It don't work like that. Like Spurs need to really, the only way the board is going to make like some serious bank in terms of like money back and all that kind of stuff is if we're competing for big prizes, winning big prizes, and making into Europe or the big European competition on a regular basis. So in order to do that, you obviously have to spend money and you have to spend it wisely, correctly so. I'd say keep Bergwijn. I mean, yeah, he's had a terrible season, but like keep Bergwijn. I have no problem with that. I would even be nice enough to say keep the likes of Ali if you wanted to. If you wanted to be that stringent with how players go and all that kind of stuff, keep Ali. But players like Mora, I don't care for the passion. Yeah, I don't give a damn for it. Yeah, Mora, Lamela, Sissoko, number 2, freaking Dier. Even I'd allow Davis, to be fair, because it's not like Davis is average, but I'll allow him in a sense of like he's not bad like Dier bad. Dier's diabolical. Like he is absolutely shocking.
We're talking about people like Dier, bro, but last season we had fucking Jedson Fernandez from. Like I was all thinking, did we think his name was Bruno or something?
Yeah,
like what happened there?
Like, I can like
yeah, but why do we always loan this random player once a season?
What I'm saying. Again, it's the board again. Like I remember Mourinho came and there was talks of Mourinho's told the board he wants Fernandez and Diaz. It was plastered all over like the transfer talks and all this kind of stuff. And we got neither. Yeah. We got last summer transfer.
What did you say? Fernandez and Diaz.
Fernandez was already at United, though, wasn't it?
No.
This is when Mourinho first joined.
Yeah, when he first joined. Yeah, so
they wanted Bruno Fernandez and Diaz, and we ended up getting Dier, I guess.
Yeah, we kept Dier, and we got
and you got Jedson Fernandez. Bro, what kind of Tesco value signings are these?
That's not even Tesco. That's Neto, bro. Like Neto don't even exist no more in England, bro. Like this is Neto value. Like this is bad. Like the board.
I'm trying to remember. Is 1/4 on loan or is he's
on loan?
It's on loan with the
option to buy.
I think it's like an obligation to buy.
No, it's an option to buy.
I'm not sure. If it's an option to buy, then boy, yeah, that's
they want to.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
If we can get him back, I'm not mad at that. Because I think we forget as well that Foyth could have covered midfield a lot better than some of the players that we currently.
He could have covered right back a lot better.
Easily.
No, I know. I mean, right back's his position, but I'm just talking about we play a lot of we play people, and then the excuse we always have is but they're cover like Dier. So Dier plays centre back. But he's cover at right back. He's cover at midfield. Foyth can play all of those positions. Like, is it? You know what I mean? He plays defense centre back. He plays midfield. I was saying that before this season. Like, I was thinking getting rid of Foyth is crazy, but
I look, man. It's such a I didn't think today was going to be like such a heartache. I'm sorry, lads, but it's like it's so bad. Like, okay, so I've just seen the list that Owen put in the group again. Like, Lamela has to go. We spent 30 million on him. Get rid of him for 10. Just take the 20 million loss. Get rid of him for even 7. Just get rid of him. Yeah, because he's not going to live up to the value anyway wherever he goes. Get rid of Sissoko. Sack Sissoko. Like, terminate his contract. Like, get rid of this is the problem with Spurs. That there has to be some sort of ruthlessness within our club. And the reason I say that is because players are not comfortable. Yeah, Danny Rose.
Bro, the last time he was ruthless, it was Vertonghen, and he was our best player at the time.
Imagine.
That's so crazy, isn't it? Like, not our best player, but I mean the best defender at that time. It's crazy. Like, we're never ruthless when it matters. We're not ruthless against like terrible players.
Danny Rose has taken the mick for 2 seasons. Yeah, like I don't understand. Danny Rose he's never been a worldie in his life. He had 2 good seasons, max. Yeah, where people were talking about best left back in the world. My ass. Yeah, he's had 2 good seasons.
Danny Rose, bro.
I don't respect him. He's crap. The guy generally believed he was going to AC Milan to do what? Eat pasta. Sit down, my friend. Stop this nonsense. Yeah, you've been at the club just eating bread off the club for 2 years, just sitting there saying, I'll wait for my contract to run out. That if I was the board, I would have said, bun your contract, we'll just pay you out right now. Go. Who's gonna take you? Colchester. Good luck.
All I'm saying is Danny from 2012-ish.
I've got a soft spot for Danny. I can't lie.
Yeah,
I feel like he was one of the best. He was one of the best left backs in the league for a good.
He was definitely
5 years.
one of the best English.
I was never going to say he was one of the best in Europe because that would be a lie.
Listen,
that would be a lie. But he was one of the best in the league.
From the bottom of my heart to the 2 of you, Danny Rose can suck out. Yeah.
Listen, coming from Aso Okoto, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It didn't matter who stood in left back.
I saw a
gonna have
madman that didn't care about football, that played football. Yeah, I can rate that because he was a madman that hated football, that played football. That there's something in your head. Danny Rose actually at one point thought he was the Don Donners. Stop that. Yeah, stop it. I've had enough of that kid. I can't wait for him to leave. I don't want him to have a testimonial. I don't want him to get a freaking Hublot watch. I don't want him to get nothing.
I can't back this show, man.
I
need a new manager to come in here, and I need Danny Rose. I need them to make peace with Danny Rose. Only because, shall I tell you why, fam? Because, bro, the guy's been trying to leave. He's the only player who's been trying to do the right thing for the club, fam. The guy's trying his hardest, fam. What more can you do, bro? He tries to leave every year, bro.
And I'm not even talking about what he did under Mourinho. Forget what he did under Mourinho. Even under Poch, yeah, he was like, "No, I'm not going to leave to either the team I want to go to comes in or freaking my contract runs out. Them things can't run." Yeah,
he was on your side at that time. He was. I swear he was directing that mostly at Levy, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was mostly at Levy. But again, you can't have man running up on you like that. Grow some balls, man.
It's all mad. It's all mad, man. We're coming. I guess we're coming to the end of the pod. We haven't really discussed much about the next game, which is Wolves. That face says it all, y'all. But I mean, how are you guys feeling going into the Wolves game? Is there anything to be? I'm going to ask the question in a different way, actually. Is there anything to be positive about going into the Wolves game?
No.
Owen, I know you're going to be negative already. I'll ask you the other question. Don't worry.
It's a score prediction. I would just hope there is some players who are in the picture for next season that either at least start or in the squad. Like, I don't expect Bale to be back next season. So I would like someone else to take his place, probably Bergwijn. I'd keep Dele in, and Ndombele has to be in the picture to start. I hope that like press office and stuff don't turn around to Ryan Mason and turn around and be like, oh, look what Ndombele's posted on Instagram, blah, 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 and then he'll have it kind of held against him, because I've seen a theme with like these kind of managers like Lampard and Arteta. They kind of get little man syndrome when that kind of thing happens. Then they'll kind of come with a bit of a head teacher vibe, and then they'll just drop the player. So hopefully he'll at least come on and play a part in the game before 80 minutes. I'd like to see Joe Rodon at least back in the squad, or Joe Rodon or Tanganga at least play it. Like, I feel like Eric Dier needs to drop. Like, we only really said like Eric Dier's performance was bad against Leeds. Didn't really touch upon it because I mean everyone saw it, everyone knew how tragic it was. He needs to be put on ice. Tanganga, Joe Rodon. I'd lean with Joe Rodon because he was actually playing really, really well in the last few games. Mourinho was in charge. So for him to be put out the squad completely was weird. I would only really see a positive in just certain players who I would see being a part of next season getting minutes. As far as the result goes, I'm not too fussed if we get into Europe or not, even though like we do probably need to. Finishing above Arsenal would be, I guess, a slight achievement, or really a nothing achievement, but it's all we've got to really aim for now. And as far as the result goes, I'm not too bothered. If we play more on the front foot, more how we look to play next season and do it well, regardless of the result, then that'll be a slight positive for me.
And Yao, I'm going to ask you the opposite question before I ask you guys for a little prediction. But what have we got? What is there, I guess, not to look forward to in the Tottenham and Wolves match? I think we lost. We won the. Did we win the return fixture?
It was a draw.
1-1. 1-1. Like there's not much to really predict with, against Wolves. It's away. our away record. It's away, right? We're at Molineux, aren't we? Oh,
Home.
we're at home.
This is yeah.
Well,
Wait, I'm going mad.
yeah, we played them away the first game.
I think in the 3-2. That's last season, right?
So our home record hasn't even been that great. So there's not real hope that we would boss the game being at home. But in saying that, Wolves have a terrible away record anyway. So they're
didn't they lose like 4-0 to Burnley already?
Yeah. So something like that. So there is some sort of hope, but like, I'm sorry to say this, but I think the attitude of our squad or players is poor. And at some point they either have to turn it around or make it mean something. I know I'm saying he's not too fussy if we don't make it into Europe, but I honestly don't think we can survive that. I think we'd be in very serious trouble if we don't make Europe for next season, even if it's the Europa League. Like, I think what happened with the Europa League this season with United now making the final, even though they got knocked out of the Champions League to make the final, and Arsenal make it to the semi-final, should really highlight to the players that, even though it's the second tier European competition, it is still a European competition that is taken quite serious. And if you win it, you go straight into the Champions League. It is the old school UEFA Cup. So, the attitude of the players needs to change. And I agree with Owen. If certain players are not about it, then I have no problems in the last 3 games seeing a relatively young squad. I have no problem seeing Rodon, Tanganga, Ndombele has to come back into the fold. Like, I've had enough of not seeing him in the fold. So he has to come back into the fold. I don't really care if Ali starts or not. Like, I don't really care. I know Bell. I know Bell's
for like a difference. Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
No, I was saying I don't really care if Ali starts. Like, because I personally, I think attitude-wise, he's not really impressed me this season. And Bell, I know Bell's probably going to start, but I don't know. Maybe Bell might turn up because Wolves are not having, a good game, because he doesn't seem to turn up against teams that really want to compete. So that's where we are right now. There's no telling what's going to happen.
What about score prediction?
2-2.
I think we'll win. Funnily enough, like, it's quite annoying because some of my other friends in another group chat keep on suggesting Nuno Espirito Santos to me as a manager, and that scares me. That absolutely scares me. Like, I think he's just school of Mourinho. I think we'll probably be on the front foot most of the game. They don't necessarily scare me in attack. Like, I think we'll probably just edge it 2-1.
All right, so I think I'd go for a win. I think we have enough, but so do they. I think both sides would go at each other. Both sides will think they can score goals. Wolves' attack is quite young and good, I would say. I like a few of their players, but their defense I'm not really worried about. I think we should have enough, regardless of who we play. It's just how they play on the day. Okay. One thing we haven't actually touched on, I just realized, is Spurs announced. So I guess we did touch on it a little bit with the whole THST thing, but I think Spurs have replied and made an official announcement on fan representation. Owen, I think could you give us a bit of a breakdown on what they say? Or
yeah, I mean, there was a bit of back and forth. THST, bless them, they did a nice little announcement which suggested they went really on the front foot. Like, I'll give them credit because they did eventually get a direct reply from Spurs, but I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the things that they were saying. Especially, they were saying that fans should be given like a big say on non-playing. I think it's like essentially coaching stuff and board members and stuff like that. And it was basically all coming from, like, they started releasing these statements and started organising these protests purely off the back of the ESL. They didn't really. This was the confusing thing to me, because I've said in another pod as well that there was many more valid reasons to be protesting. However, they just really focused on the ESL because the board didn't necessarily bring them into the picture. And then obviously Tottenham did actually reply after THST basically filed a motion for all board members to leave off the back of the ESL. I mean, yeah, I didn't agree with that, to be honest. But yeah, Tottenham actually replied and added THST to say, you know, we've actually tried to meet you. After THST originally said, like, oh, the board are unwilling to meet us, Spurs replied, oh, we actually are. We've been waiting on you, man. So it all got a little bit tasty from there. And then they took THST's statement seriously and announced that there was going to be an independent panel selecting fans to be part of a club advisory panel with one chair essentially heading this group to have a vote on all Tottenham matters on the board, which is I think we might be the only club in the Premier League to have that if it goes through. It'll be interesting
It's my worst nightmare.
What fans are selected. It's laughable because I mean a lot of fans, a lot of people who are listening to this don't understand just how dumb our fan base is and how fickle it is. It's like the whole kind of THST thing. They kind of it was a little bit little man syndrome again. I think purely because they weren't consulted on what was essentially like a matter which had to be kept secret anyway. Yeah, like it would just be interesting to see what the selection process is. I really hope that the new Spurs order are considered in this.
Yeah, I say we just do it by lottery. Just everyone who wants to be on the Spurs board, just buy a lottery ticket and fuck it.
Because I think once they get or once they select all the fans, they're going to elect the fans. I think this is how it works. I think the fans are going to elect the chair, who is going to be the board representative of the fans. But I would just hope that they look further than the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, because I don't like the kind of whole we're going to be the gatekeepers of the fans' opinion. We're the ones that quantify what fan representation is and stuff like that. Like that whole vibe coming from their side on the whole that we support Spurs. We've supported Spurs longer than you. I think it said in their statement as well, and it all just got a little bit petty. So yeah, I would just hope that whoever is selecting these fans look beyond just Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, because I don't see them as like the best representation of our fan base, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm tempted to agree. So, guys, when we're going to join Orion's protest against THST at some point, we'll give you some more information on that.
Thing. I just want to say, I don't hate them.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
We got love for THST.
I've got to say, fair play for getting the board's attention. To be fair,
we got love for THST. It's just it's a very important question, to be honest. Like about the selection criteria and just what goes into it. I think they need to be a bit more transparent, just like how they wanted Tottenham to be more transparent. I think they just need to keep that in mind as well, not lose sight of the goal, which is for fans to be consulted on large decisions. Like this is quite a large decision too, and I think more fans need to be consulted, not just THST. And yeah, on that bombshell, I think we'll finish. It's funny as well because I think they do what is it, like fans of the year, the supporter of the year awards at the I think at the end of the season or something like that, and it was Ghana Spurs that won. I just remember, this is such a random thing, but I just remember that Ghana Spurs was like the supporters group of the year or something like that.
Man.
I bet you they haven't been consulted about it.
What was the criteria for the winners? Like,
I can't even remember. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna Google it after the match and find it.
If they do this like next season, we have to consider like Toby and say that the prize is like Tottenham headphones.
100%.
It has to, like the winning prize has to be Tottenham headphones. He has to complete the set. Like he has to.
Shots fired. Listen, it's been a great show. Make sure you check out the Patreon episodes. Remember, they're actually free. So search for those Touchline Hotspurs Patreon. I think it's Spurs_Touchline on Twitter. Make sure you follow the guys as well. They've got their @, so it's @Yao Bruce Buzier or @Owen Sorrell. You can follow me at HTTPERA404. And yeah, that's a wrap, guys. Until next week.
Take care.
Okay.